Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something huge, how schools try to build character. We're going to explore all the ways they attempt to teach kids to be good people, and we're going to find out why the most important lessons might not be in the lesson plan at all.
This is a massive question, right? It's really at the core of what we think schools are for. And for decades, educators have been wrestling with it, trying out all sorts of different methods to give students a solid moral compass.
And this whole quest for character, well, it's been a long and winding road. The thinking on how you actually do moral education inside a school has been constantly shifting.
The game plan for how to do this has totally changed over the last 50 years. Early on, you had these very student-centered approaches, like values clarification or building self-esteem. It was all about individual feelings. But over time, that shifted more towards thinking about big ethical ideas. And now, most recently, it's about directly teaching and developing good habits and virtues.
So, you have to wonder, with all these good intentions, why didn't a lot of these approaches work? Why did they fall short? The answer tells us a whole lot about what character really is and how it's actually built. Let's dig into the evidence.
Okay, so back in the day, in the latter half of the 20th century, the big idea was that character was all about feelings. This led to a wave of what we call affective approaches, starting with something called values clarification.
The thinking went something like this. If we just get students to think really hard about what they believe, they'll naturally figure out the right way to act. But this hit a huge snag. It led to moral relativism, because pretty quickly, educators realized there are some things, like being cruel or dishonest, that are just plain wrong. You really want kids to clarify their way into feeling okay about those things.
So, the next big thing was the self-esteem movement. And it sounds good, doesn't it? If kids feel good about themselves, they'll be good people. It seems so logical. But this whole theory just collapsed when research uncovered a really surprising and, let's be honest, inconvenient truth.
And wow, this just blew that whole theory out of the water. It turns out that a lot of chronic offenders have sky-high self-esteem. They're proud of what they do. This completely shattered the idea that just feeling good about yourself automatically makes you a good person.
All right, so if feelings weren't the answer, what was next? Well, schools pivoted from feelings to thinking. The new approach was all about getting students to use logic and reason to work through really complex ethical problems.
So kids got really good at debating these huge hypothetical problems, life raft scenarios, capital punishment, stuff like that. But here was the massive disconnect. They had a really hard time connecting those big abstract ideas to the small moral choices they were facing every single day.
And that led to this massive realization, captured perfectly in this quote. Character isn't really about what you do in some once-in-a-lifetime crisis. It's about what you do automatically. It's about your habits, your gut reactions, the person you are day in and day out.
Okay, so this is where we are today. We now get that moral learning is happening on two different tracks, at the same time, inside every school.
First up, you've got the explicit curriculum. This is the stuff we teach on purpose. Think of it like a toolkit we're trying to give students. Skills like managing anger, resolving conflicts, cooperating, and structured programs to teach these things directly.
But then, there's the other curriculum, the one nobody writes down but everyone learns from. It's the hidden curriculum, all the unspoken lessons and values that students just soak up from the school's atmosphere.
And this right here, this is the core tension. It's what we say versus what we do. A school can have posters about respect all over the walls, but what really matters is how the teachers and administrators act. The lessons that kids catch from watching the adults are almost always more powerful than the lessons they are taught.
And the research backs this up big time. It shows that all those daily routines, how rules get enforced, how teachers talk to students, whether the vibe of the school is one of respect or fear, all of that teaches these really powerful unspoken lessons about what's actually valued in that community. So where does that leave us? If this hidden curriculum is so powerful, what's the end game? What are schools really teaching? And how can we make sure it's something that truly builds character?
Well, it means we have to recognize that just being smart isn't enough. Listen to how Theodore Roosevelt put it. He said that to educate someone's mind but not their morals is to create a menace. Basically, being smart without having good character isn't just a waste, it's dangerous.
So the real magic, the goal for the most effective schools, isn't to choose one curriculum over the other, it's to get them perfectly aligned. It's making sure the values you have on the posters are the same values the adults are living out every single day. The say and the do have to match. And that leaves us with one last, really crucial question to chew on. If it's true that character is caught more than it's taught, then we have to ask ourselves, what are students actually catching in our schools today? What are they really learning when no one's officially teaching?